This is Infection,
Bingo,
the survival
boom, shakalaka.
podcast recorded live on Tuesday, September 28th, 2021, episode 350. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you we don't do any of that stuff anymore. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on various social media channels by visiting my website, nickcraig.com or nickcraig.net. You can check out my daily political antics at Wilmington's Morning News on your favorite podcast app. Just search Wilmington's Morning News. Of course, our website is infectionpodcast.com, the only website you'll ever need on the internet. Joining us with a very time-sensitive background, Brian with an
Yes.
I, Aldridge. Hello, Brian. How are you?
I am doing well, and I am having a new roof put on. So they started tapping on the other side of the house. So we'll see. We'll see if you hear it. If you do, let me know, and I'll crank my gear.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, if you want to, all right, I'll be right. If you want to find me at Brian Aldridge on Gavin Parler and my blog biteoftech.com. Also check out our blog, as Nick said. If you go to infectionpodcast.com, on there we've got links for our Discord, which is a great place if you want to submit news topics to us. Also, we've got on there places where you can hang out, play Ark, a lot of other things. We have our video forms of the podcast. If you want to do that through Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, or DLive, and some of those we stream to live, and then others we have recordings after the fact as well. We have a podcast extra. If you want to kind of get an idea of what our pre and post shows look like, we have a few up there. And then the audio form. So the lower right-hand side, most people listen. So if you go there, pick whatever platform, device you prefer, and it should have some way for you to listen through it. So also go to the particular episode that you're going to be listening to and follow along, because we got links and videos, all kinds of things for each topic that we discuss. And if you're listening, it will really help because you can sit there and see the articles or watch the videos that we're discussing. If you want to support us, go to infectionpodcast.com/support. Or if you go to the top of the page, we got a support tab, as you heard during the intro, Prime Gaming subs. We have our Humble Bundle, Amazon, Subscribe Star, and then just a lot of different ways. So lots of fun.
Yes, I can hear your.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
It's a little bit. It's not anything crazy. This is the magic of.
Well, I may mute if I know I'm going to not talk for a little bit. I'll just mute when I do it, so that way it doesn't go randomly in the background when you're talking.
The power of live media. With 350 episodes, Brian, I'd say that's a pretty significant mile mark. Let's do a weeks to years converter and see where we are, since I'm kind of retarded. 350. That's 6.7 years. So it'll be 7 years in what, February is it we start, or is it either last week of January or the first week of February? And you're muted, so because you muted yourself, so now I can't hear.
Sorry, yeah, I don't remember our first episode started.
It was
I think
week.
we were planning at the end of January.
Yeah,
but I don't remember. Maybe our episode happened to have landed right there, but yeah. I don't know. It's so right around that time. We'll be
7 years after coming up just after the New Year's. That is dangerous to say. Dangerous and scary to say the least. Well, Brian, I mentioned your background. It's for our audio listeners, it is the background of Amazon's New World, a game, a studio that we have been talking about since really its inception. The man behind the curtain, at least on the studio side, is somebody that's very near and dear to probably all of our hearts. The original idea behind H1Z1 came from a man known as John Smedley. He is the head of what was the newly funded and newly put together Amazon game studio. And after a few delays, lots of teasers, changes to Lumberyard and all the different things that Amazon was working on, today was the day for New World, a new style MMO trying to bring the likes of World of Warcraft and other games back to kind of
and even cutting edge, because like there's so many limitations when you start doing a game this size, an MMO. There's so many limitations they had to put in place, and that's why there's a lot of things that WoW does the way they do. And I'm suspecting that they're probably going to try to break that. So it's like a game. Sure, there's a ton of people playing it, but it's like in any other game, and you're not having to have some of these limitations, because there's a lot of things that WoW has patched and done over time that they can just do right the very first time. So they, might as well do that now and make that the standard, and that'll make WoW look bad, because then people will go back to WoW and they're like, oh, this kind of sucks.
Yes. So
do you want to start with the launch trailer, because they put out a new launch trailer?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Let's play that really quick, and then let's go through. They have a website. They've got a details page, and then they've got this real interactive map on a web page. There are some sounds and things. I did warn you about that, so just in case.
I just tried pulling that map up. The hardware acceleration is so severe on it that it runs at about 3 frames a second. So I'll see if I can.
It's pretty crazy.
So yeah, let's take a look at their new launch trailer. I assume that came out today.
Yes,
or
I think it came out today. Okay, yesterday or today.
Excellent. So let's take a look at the official launch trailer for Amazon's much anticipated first game, New World.
I am the myth. I am the glory you seek. The island. And the island is me. I am the rage. The destruction. I am Eternum. And Eternum is me.
All right, Brian, we have been waiting.
Yeah, so I mean, this, if you look at all the things that they've put in so far, they've got some PvP, they've got, I don't know what they're calling, guild versus guild or clan versus clan or whatever they're calling it. I don't remember at this time. They've got a lot of those things on launch. I'm assuming they're going to continue because, as I've said before, WoW has had years and years and years to put all these things in. And now people expect to walk into an MMO that's the size of WoW day one. So that's kind of an unfair advantage that things like WoW have. But they have a decent sized map from what I can tell. Of course, they can always continue to grow with expansions on that. And then they raise the level cap just like WoW does. I think that's a really good way to keep adding new content and making people get new content and have something to run for. Of course, they have all the Prime Gaming stuff that they can do to get skins in the game.
Yeah,
so that's one thing that they have that most others don't. So there's have it to where you can get in-game currency as rewards for it, all kinds of stuff like that. So they launched yesterday in Europe, today in South America. Well, equivalent times, and then 8 a.m. they launched here. 8 a.m. Eastern and then Pacific. They launched. So this is they've had a huge number of players, and if you look at some of the player counts, it is. I don't know if you want to, jump into current players.
I may or may not have known that we were going to talk a little bit about New Worlds and put together this snazzy new graphic to take a look at. Currently, the people who are playing New World, 630,656 individuals currently playing. The 24-hour peak and the 7-day peak was reached about 5 hours ago as we're recording the show live, so that would have been around 2 o'clock Eastern, which would have been about 3, I guess with the time difference, 3 hours after the game launched or so, is 707,230. It is currently the top played game on Steam. Current player-wise, Brian, it's got CSGO. CSGO's only got 230,000 people playing right now. Dota 2's got 173. This game's got 630. So a significant number of people currently playing this in comparison to the other games. The fact that they were able to pull nearly 750,000 players and their 24-hour peak on a brand new launch, pretty impressive numbers, to be perfectly honest with you. But the question stands, what did that look like? I assume that put their servers under a pretty heavy load.
Yeah, and they were having I think 20 queues of 20,000 per server on the more popular ones. Yeah, where it was saying, 236 hours, before you're going to get on. This has been, but this is common for people that have played WoW. This is just how it works. For them, how are they going to adjust to that? I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be able to just keep adding players and then, merging servers, kind of like what all these other ones do. I don't know. Since I haven't played it, and I'll get into that in just a second, I can't tell you how much uniqueness there is per server, or if this is something, because you're building things. It's that open world. You can build a hut and all this. So it's kind of like what we saw in H1Z1. They try to merge servers and they couldn't just do that. You pretty much wipe everything. So I think with this, they've got a decent number of servers. I think they're trying to keep it realistic so that when all the players that stop playing day one all leave, you don't have a bunch of 1/4 filled servers. So they're making people kind of wait and log in. That'll probably last for a couple days. Now, I tried to download it, and for some reason, it kept shutting off my computer. Steam it was downloading at 100 megabytes per second. So I figured, well, maybe if I put a 90 megabyte cap on it, it's going pretty fast. If I put a 90 megabyte cap on it, but that still got to the end, and then it shut down my computer right when it got to the verification phase. So then
it was crashing your computer?
Was shutting it off, the whole power supply and everything.
So
and only this, and they did it every time.
A hard crash.
A hard shutdown, yes. A hard shut off. And so then I limited Steam to 2 cores on my CPU. That let me install it.
Jesus.
So doing all that, I was able to get in and and actually make it work. But man, it was a pain. Now, I tried to launch it, and then when I was in the settings, I was messing with settings, it shut down when I was in settings. So I haven't been back in to really look at it, but I was going to try tonight to see if I can get in and start playing and maybe tweak some, see if there's I saw some optimization settings and things I can try for better frame rates. I'll try all those because I don't know how optimized they have it quite yet. And I'll see if it's on the GeForce Now app, see if they have optimization for that.
Well, as I'm for our video watchers and viewers, you can see I've been scrolling through the server list here for the last couple minutes. They've got a lot of servers, Brian, all over the U.S. Yeah. A large U.S. West and East, as well as a Europe, a large South, a lot of South American servers. Which,
yeah,
I mean, I guess there's a lot of South American players, but I don't know if I've
remember
ever seen
how many were in H1Z1.
Yeah, true.
But we had remember there's what's that other game we play with the robots? I don't know why it's blanking me right now.
Robots.
Jeremiah. What's the name of his game he makes?
I have
with
no
the robots.
It's
It's open world PvP. I can look it up.
With the robot. Oh, you're talking about Zero.
Zero, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I was just trying to.
I was like, I know this is really easy. It's just it was slipping me.
First I was thinking of that weird. What's that weird robot game that we played? That's kind of like you build the robots and kind of battle.
Oh,
that's what I was thinking of.
No, not that open world
like,
PvP.
I was like, what the hell are you talking? I was like, we played that once. Why are you talking about this stupid robot game?
I was saying something that they did in there. I totally lost track of it now.
No, but they had a lot of South American servers.
Oh yeah, remember he made a comment to us. He said
Brazil.
There are tons of people that are playing from South America, and I remember him mentioning that to us. Yeah, and I was just like, that's interesting. So I think there probably is maybe for some reason just a larger amount of PC players in those countries, which scales over to having high player counts in these types of games where. For us, we have a high number of console players. A lot of console players and PC players are kind of few and farther between. But I think as you get to some countries where maybe, whatever circumstances, for some reason, PC is more preferred.
I find it interesting, Brian, looking at their server list, I don't see any China servers on here. The EU servers appear to be Western European, no Russian servers, no servers in that area, pretty much just EU and Australia. So 5 regional servers, 2 in the US, the EU, South America, and Australia for the server list. But they've obviously got a lot of servers, and you brought up that interesting point that, everybody wants there to be a bagillion servers on launch day, but the reality is those players dwell out so quickly that it doesn't make sense to essentially have just a bunch of what will be empty servers, 60,
it causes problem for the players that are going to stick.
Yeah.
So why are you going to get these, I want to just try it today players? You're going to sacrifice the players that are actually going to be with you, playing for the years to come, because you're trying to cater to them. You don't want it to where here in a week and a half, 2 weeks, they feel like they're in a dead world. People like to have people running around. That's how you build communities. You get guilds going. That's how I did it in WoW. I started out on a server that was very new. And so there weren't all these high level players, and they didn't allow server transfers to it and all this. And so what I enjoyed about the game, what really sucked me in from the beginning, was running into other people that were at the exact same point I was, that had no idea about the game and just were running around and having fun, and say, hey, let's group up. It makes it easier. It makes it so where we level faster. And I think that they need that. And if people here in 2 weeks are running around and they don't see anybody in some of these leveling zones, that's really going to hurt that experience for that player, especially new ones that don't have a lot of experience in MMOs. Because this may bring in a whole new demographic. You never know, because this news, and it's a different style, and it's different. It's not. I don't think people are looking at it like a normal nerdy MMO. So you might get people that are saying, "Hey, this looks like really good PvP" or something like that. So you don't want to run those players off, but you don't want to drive away the other. So I think they have a lot of servers. You just showed they got tons of them. I think that's a healthy list for a day one launch.
Now, you mentioned Twitch. Here is the Twitch drops that are going to be available. I think I read they've got 66 content creators that they've partnered up with. Now, Brian, you're the resident MMO expert. Do these kind of look on par with what you would expect for an MMO? They still have the medieval style look, but they are obviously, they've got their purple tint pulling off of Twitch's logo. Is this what you would expect for kind of skin drops in a game like this?
Especially themes. So one of the most important things that MMOs can do are get really unique themed looks per expansion, because you have to cycle these things out over time. And that's one thing with expansions. The big point of those are you raise the level cap, and then you pretty much get rid of all the old gear, and then people are working for a whole new looking set of gear that's unique and different than everyone else's. So I think for here, setting up kind of a base, and the thing is, I don't want them to get where everything looks super crazy fancy day one. You want to have something that you're moving towards. So if the first gear that you get is like, oh, well, that's like the coolest looking gear, I don't want to ever bother getting better, that's a problem. They need to start you out with something that looks pretty cool, but then later bring out something that's amazing. And I'm assuming that's what they're doing. These look good, but I'm expecting that the high-end later level gear is going to look really, really cool.
Definitely. I mean, it already looks pretty cool, to be honest with you. Well, cool. So now we wait.
Yep.
Right? We wait to see what the kind of response is. And, it's too early right now to have any full opinions. I guess you can make an initial impression. Oh, it's good or it's bad, but I think the verdict will still be out on that, and will be likely a couple of weeks out. I see I scrolled through our Discord server before we started. I saw a bunch of our people in our Discord playing it.
We got a lot of people playing it.
I think I mentioned I don't think I mentioned it during the live. I came very close to buying it today when I saw the news. I was like, oh.
Well, so and there's no subscription fee, right? That's the thing. There's no subscription fee. I haven't seen any change in that.
No, there's not.
I think That's a huge thing. WoW is $15 a month, whether you play or not. That just is expensive to sit there and pay year after year. This, if you don't like it, don't play it. If you feel like picking it up later, you can pick it up later and try it out. So I think with this, the leveling up process, people think, oh, that was cool. The thing about it that they didn't realize until they started playing in WoW was it was everything after you reached level 60, 70, 80, whatever was current max at the time. That's when the whole experience began, because that's when you started chasing gear, trying to like perfect your stats so that when you went into instances, like you were super efficient with your healing, with your blocking, with your damage, whatever it is. This is something that's what's going to determine how successful this game is. It's not going to be these worlds that you're running around and, they can look really pretty. That'll bring in your intro players, but it's going to be the end game. If they have something that is just, and that's the thing, look at Conan Exiles. That kind of it's kind of like an MMO game like this. They have dungeons and things like that, but there's something about, like, I did one of the dungeons once and it just didn't draw you in. Like, it was just kind of like a timed, you're going through an instance and things were triggering as you move through it. If they can do a really good instance where it just feels like, you're pushing to barely beat it, and then you improve some gear, and then they can do something else, just like that mechanic they have with WoW. That's what people are going to want, and I just don't know. I haven't seen anything on that yet, and it's going to take people a while to get up there, and whether or not they have the gear balance right and the loot balance, all that.
Do you think, now obviously we looked at the day one player count, and that's obviously a good number, and I'm sure Amazon's happy with that. But long term, obviously the goal with an MMO is you have to keep players long term. It's not a Call of Duty. Yeah. It's not a Battlefield. It's not one of these games that can survive off of just having a few players here and there. Do you think they can hold that player count?
That's what it comes down to. WoW holds that player count based on all the other things besides leveling up. It can be the PvP, it could be the dungeons, it can be the pet battles, it can be you name it, whatever it is. That's what brings people in. People don't join WoW to do the leveling up. That's why they now sell max level tokens, or ones that they give away all these tokens. They'll bring you within 10 of the current max. That. People are over that. People want, but the thing is, you can't just make it to where they're at the end instantly. They have to have that grind to give them the appreciation for the gear that they have. I think that's what's really has killed WoW, is because they made everything so easy that you don't have appreciation for the gear you've had. I remember sitting across from you and saying, I remember getting certain pieces of gear in WoW and thinking, I have worked week after week after week in this instance trying to get this one piece of gear, and I finally got it. And you know how much, like, whatever your brain or your body releases, that gives you that payoff, like that released it. That's why WoW was so successful, is because they were able to do that. And that's going to come down to, did they make it a successful game mechanic to make you feel that? And that can always, they can tweak and try to fix, but if they're way off, like, that'll be what determines whether or not this game makes it.
So that is New World. If you are a player of New World or going to be playing New World, if you'd let us know what your experience is, I think we'd be more than excited to hear about that. So hopefully you can pop in our Discord server and let us know. I know we've got a couple of people playing it right now, so we will wait to see. I don't know, Brian. I might be here's a question for you. I know you haven't played it yet, but I'll ask you anyway.
No,
is this
something?
Well, I did
do some of the trial, some of the test stuff.
Is this something is this something that I'll be able to play alone and kind of just play on my own time, or not really?
Okay, so at least the initial experience. You could play, but there's some content that you just want to group up with people. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. Whether or not they lock anything behind content, as far as you got to finish this dungeon and maybe it's going to require more, you maybe have to queue into something with people. I don't know. I would be surprised how much of that they're going to do, because there's no locked system for healers versus, you pick your own things. So that's going to be a weird thing. How do you lock in and queue as a healer in an instance without, without knowing that person's really a healer? So this is going to be an interesting thing. I think they're going to have some growing pains because they're doing it different than normal ones. But you know what? You may find that there's better combinations. People can make their own characters, their own classes. So I think it'll be interesting. They've got a lot of promise of things they could do, and I think that for them it's enough of a fresh start. They can throw in a lot of new things, and they have a lot of new technology behind it. And I think that is going to be the big thing of when people see what MMOs can do with modern technology. Maybe they'll pull out some really cool battles or something that I think will make people realize that, okay, this is like a 20-year, 10-year later MMO from some of the old tech.
And just within its first couple of hours being launched, it's already in the top 5 most played Steam games ever in just the first couple of hours that it's been out. So very much looking forward to hearing the first impressions of it. We'll get those hopefully over the next week or so. And I'm sure Brian will have some personal experience as we head towards next week's edition of Infections. So that is New World. We will keep you up to date with it and bring you all of the news. I'm sure there will be a plethora of patches and updates over the next couple of days as players get in and find all of those bugs and other various things.
Yep. All right. So there was a story that I did not expect to see that happened here a couple days ago. China has banned all cryptocurrency.
What?
I mean, that's they have banned all cryptocurrency. So they have announced that all cryptocurrency is now illegal, claiming trading currencies like Bitcoin and Ether seriously endanger the safety of people's assets.
Oh, wow.
So, so their ban extends to all crypto-related activities, including buying, selling, providing pricing services, launching new tokens, everything. So that I saw some things saying that a number of the values have gone down as of the 24th. I haven't looked at the current numbers to see how much they've rebounded. It looks like, let's see, in a week. Yeah, it looks like, it's rebounded. It's still going down. It looks like it went down just recently 3.5% in the past week.
I got this interesting, there's an interesting tweet in this post that says, nothing has created more wealth in the past decade than technologies banned in China. It's very interesting when you think about that. You think of all of the things that they've banned, all of the popular technological, mostly services and websites over the past 10 years or so. It's an interesting way to think about it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these things that are just not allowed in China have incredible success all over the world.
Well, okay. Why, though? Think of why China doesn't like this. It's something they can't control. China is all about control. They have a central bank. Who banned this? China's central bank. Who would be the competition to cryptocurrency, which happens to be owned by the Chinese government, banned their competitor. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't live in a free society.
Well, but see, and I don't want to get too far into the conversation, but the United States, our Federal Reserve is not super hell-bent on cryptocurrency as either. And
they want to make their own.
They want to make their own, and once the government gets into it, they will. I don't know if they will necessarily ban other currencies, but a Federal Reserve crypto coin, or I don't remember. They've got a name for it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I've looked at it a bunch. Has been something that's been talked about, and the Federal Reserve kind of gets off, at least in the United States, on being able to control the economy. And, there's arguments whether their monetary policy and things that they do actually control the economy, but for all intents and purposes, with interest rates and things of that nature and the market in which banks can buy and sell things to each other and the Federal Reserve rates for that and things, they, for all intents and purposes, do control the entire economy. And cryptocurrency, we've seen is it not Chile? Some South American country recently banned cryptocurrency. It was Venezuela.
Venezuela, yeah, another very healthy country.
Yeah, I mean, so we've seen this happen. Smaller countries, nothing as large as China, but yeah, this makes for any government that wants to control its monetary policy. This is a huge monkey wrench in the system. I mean, again, you just look at the United States. The Federal Reserve has had complete control over the U.S. economy since they first started enacting monetary policy, and cryptocurrency does not have that at all. Zero. Yeah. I mean, they have no control over it all. There's no market that they can control it on. There's no, stopgaps they can put in place to try to control it. It's a completely wild beast, and they don't like that. The Chinese government doesn't like that. We've seen them cracking down on services, video games, pieces of technology over the past couple of months. To me, this is par for the course.
Well, in like Turkey banned cryptocurrency payments. India keeps saying they're going to ban them. Nigeria banned them. Bolivia banned them. Ecuador banned them. Algeria. I mean, there's Nepal. I mean, South Korea is working on. Now, there's like weird countries. They're like either they don't allow banks or they have a bunch of restrictions on them. There's a bunch of these little weird countries that have put limits like this. So who knows? China. The thing about China is it seems like they kind of make a rule now and then it kind of just fades off for a while. Maybe they're still really enforcing that rule, but it seems like they kind of just disappear after a while. Maybe they're just doing them. And we're just like taking it for granted. We assume that they'd be like, no way are we doing that. And they're just, they probably just go along with it. We're like, okay. But yeah, this kind of stuff they do. They ban Google. They've banned the firewalls, VPNs, VPNs going through their firewall. It's just,
did you
whatever.
Did you see that D's banned them? D's?
What? Nuts? No.
Got him. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Daddy English. Appreciate that very much.
The chat's way over on my right screen. I wasn't even looking at that. All right. One thing that I'm kind of curious, I put an opinion piece after this, if you want to go check it out. But people are wondering if this is going to help with the GPU shortage. Now, how many of those CPUs were going to China to do cryptocurrency mining? Yeah. That now are going to go,
didn't they? Didn't they cut down on mining a couple months ago? And now,
it wasn't. It was a couple weeks ago. If I remember correctly, like that started. I think that was a couple weeks ago they did that. So I think all of this together, maybe we'll finally be able to get a video card. We'll see. You never know.
I'm not holding out for it. I'm kind of over it. I mean, to say I'm like I'm a deflated balloon when it comes to wanting to. Honestly, I don't look. I don't care. It is what it is.
And I think just like most people have given up on looking for a new console. People have given up and are just kind of like, okay, whatever. Yeah. It'll be in a store some point, and maybe I'll buy it. But until then,
it's funny. So
just not buying them.
In the U.S., obviously, Walmart is one of the largest retailers. Yeah. And every single time I go to Walmart, which I go about maybe 3 times a week, I don't do traditional shopping. I go just a couple. I go a couple of 3, maybe 4 times a week. I always, no matter what I'm going for, even if I'm going for coffee creamer, and that's the only thing I'm looking for, I always walk by the electronics section. And to this day, I have not seen a single next generation console in the 2 Walmarts that I frequent. I don't know if they're not stocking them or what, but they are not in the display cases that that they have. They're just not. I don't know if they're not shipping them to stores, if they're doing them online only, but I've checked literally every single time I go, just curiously. Now they've got controllers and things like that, but no next generation consoles. But interestingly enough, they've got Oculuses and other kind of peripherals that used to never were hard to get, but things that you would not assume that people are going to Walmart to buy, like an Oculus Rift. I wouldn't assume that people are doing that, but no next gen consoles. So definitely still questions about those as well.
Well, and it makes you wonder with the pricing of some of those too. It seems like they're kind of bringing in some of those items that are near that stimulus check dollar range. $300, $400 or $500 maybe. You know, like the Oculus Rift, it's not like $500 or something like that.
I don't know what
$400.
the current. Honestly, I haven't looked at the price.
Whatever they, or maybe I don't. Whatever one I saw out there, they have some sort of.
Well, they've got their new one,
device.
the Quest, that's a little bit cheaper. That does some stuff. I'm going to be honest. I'm not really well versed on VR, but I just have found it interesting that they don't have those, and they've got a bunch of other gaming accessories, keyboards, routers, and mice. But no, obviously, Walmart is not stocking video cards, to my chagrin.
Yep.
So
yeah. Oh well, hopefully you'll be able to buy one here soon. Now let's talk about some other hardware. Talk about time to get into making hardware. There's some more information on the Steam Deck. First of all, BattleEye anti-cheat confirms Steam Deck support. So they've built that connector, to remember that was it Proton or I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Yeah, I think it is called
that
Proton,
interface. That interface that they have is kind of the go between the games and this is the Proton. So they've got that to where now that will work with the BattleEye anti-cheat. I put a tweet out there showing them confirming that. So, and it's an opt-in, I guess, right? They said this is opt-in basis with game developers choosing whether or not they want to allow BattleEye on the device, which I don't know why they wouldn't.
Well, they also mentioned that it's native Linux and Mac support. They said they provided that for a long time, but they will also allow it for Proton. So I assume now as a developer, you can choose whether you want Linux and Mac BattleEye to be working for your game, depending on.
I bet you because this is pretty much Linux. I mean, it's
yes,
general
it's
a
Arch, right?
Linux. Yeah, it's a Linux distro that they've customized. So I think with this, rather than just doing a generic Linux, they're going to probably put one out with a repository specifically for the Steam Deck. It's probably what they're saying. So they'll put out releases that are precompiled with the Steam Deck in mind, and then that way people can have those updated run DLLs for the BattleEye anti-cheat.
Coolio. That's exciting.
So, and then they put out a FAQ as well. So frequently asked questions for a lot of different things, and it's steamdeck.com/FAQ. This one has /EN, but I'm assuming that will forward you where you need to go.
Is there anything on here that caught your attention on any of the things on the FAQ? I mean, I think we've known all of this through videos or through media and stuff like that.
So one thing it says, can you run non-Steam games through Proton on Steam Deck? It says, yes, you can run non-Steam games through Proton.
So I think that was interesting. Windows.
Yeah, so it could take a Windows game and it'll somehow install it on this device through Proton, which is kind of like somehow a Windows interface.
Is it like Wine kind of?
Yeah, there used to be one. There's Wine. There used to be one that was more game specific. It was like a customized version of Wine. But yeah, kind of like that, to where it's somehow interfacing and making these Windows games have what they need. There's other programs that have done this. I wonder if they purchased out some application or something that did this. Because there's a company that's been doing this for a long time, and they seem to have gotten here pretty quickly. Maybe they've built it better too.
Build back better.
Build back better. They're going to have this add a game feature. They talk about the anti-cheat in here. It's just it answers a lot of questions. Like, for instance, you can use the Steam Deck. Can it be used with the PC controller? Yes. They talk about VR in this. They said you could connect a VR headset, but it's not optimized for a PC VR experience, which I can understand.
That would, your battery would be non-existent. Trying to use I imagine trying to drive a VR headset with this would be very intensive.
Yeah, they ask if does docking the deck improve performance? And docking is akin to plugging in a charger. It runs a full performance in portable mode.
That's a good point, because if you are a mobile gamer on PC on laptops, most of the way that Windows will handle that, and obviously you can go in and tweak your performance curves, but most laptops on battery will downclock the CPU and change various settings so that you get better performance. They're saying that the Steam Deck is going to be full throttle, whether it is undocked or docked. Obviously, adjusting things like the brightness and things like that will have a minor impact on the battery life and the longevity of that. But the performance in terms of the clock speed and things like that will be the same plugged in or not plugged in, which is a good thing. They probably do not have the ability to downclock the CPU at all, realistically, and still allow performance on portable. Because realistically,
Well,
this
plus
thing is
they
going to
don't
be
know
used on
what
portable.
games. Yeah, and they don't know what games are going to work fine if you're downcloud. You know, that's opening up a big can of worms, and
Yeah.
they want this thing to run as well as it can while it's running.
Well, and that's going to be the real key is, you buy this device similar, for example, Brian, you go and buy a Nintendo Switch. You are not concerned, at least you shouldn't be, that it's not going to run a game that Nintendo sells. That you can buy any Switch game and it will run perfectly. You buy an Xbox, any Xbox game, no question, it should just run. PC games, it's a whole different situation. The games, because there's so much hardware and different resources and specs that are required, it's kind of the Wild West. So it does put Valve in an interesting situation where you have somebody going and saying, hey, I bought this Steam Deck, I bought this game, but it doesn't play like I would expect it to. What the hell? And now that Valve is the hardware vendor for this, right? Valve doesn't build computers. So if you've got an issue, you can bitch about it to Valve all you want. They don't particularly care. But now they're going to have to answer these questions. They are the support for games that are not running on the Steam Deck correctly. This is their problem, not NVIDIA drivers, not AMD drivers, none of that stuff. They are the ones that are going to have to figure this out.
Well, yeah, and also remember they're really encouraging other hardware creators to make these devices. I think what they really want to do is get to where they're just supporting the operating system and really, making it work well. And then, other people are making all the devices. I think they're putting out the first ones, but I don't think they want to be putting out them for very long. I think they want to get it to where it's kind of like exactly like cell phones. And Google makes Android. They put out one every once in a while that has the showing off the latest operating system of it and all that it can do. They put out that that flagstone device, and then everyone else makes them. I think that's what they want to do with this. They want it to where everyone else, because how many people are getting the Google one? If they are, why are they getting it? It's only so they can have the most recent and current things. They're not doing it because it's such an amazing phone usually. So I think here you've got them going for that same model. Get it to where Razer and all these other companies that make these high-end mobile devices are making these year after year, putting in all, and all they have to do is make sure it works on it, and then people are still using Steam. And they haven't switched to Switch, which now is all of a sudden playing all these PC games that they wanted to sell. It's kind of helping them stay in the market on mobile devices, which I don't think they could have done any other real way.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
they're not going to create a unique, system that only runs their games.
I think the first devices are expected out around Christmas, so we will patiently wait and see what comes.
Yep. Hopefully, people, because there's so many. I saw so many queues. People saying like it was they put their pre-order in or reserved it, and it's like way far out in the future. So we'll see with the hardware. I think PH pointed out, with the hardware shortages they've had and all of this, when will they start getting into other people's hands? Because just like the new consoles, I mean, I did a lot of work and actually got them in here, and now it seems like we never play them. But if you can't get them in people's hands, what good are they?
True.
Your average person who wants one of those consoles doesn't get it. If people can't get this and they want it, well, that's going to be their shortfall. So I think that if they can get enough of them out there or get other hardware manufacturers start making them, I think that's going to be the decision where this actually becomes popular or one of those kind of gadget gifts.
Nice.
All right. So do we want to show? I've got some things. So some new upcoming UE5 games. We got some other news that we could go into. What are you? Is there anything you're interested in particular?
No, you lead. I know we've had the UE5 stuff on here for a while, so let's talk.
Well, let's show that because there's some pretty cool videos and some games and things that are coming out that are using the new Unreal 5 engine. First of all, we have mentioned Sengo's Saga Hellblade 2, so the continuance of the Hellblade series that is coming out on UE5, and that I think is going to be pretty close. It's not very far out. I know that they were making some pretty good progress, and they're working very closely with Epic in developing it. And the next one's, of course, Fortnite is going to be happening, I think, in the next couple of months at the next season, I think they're switching to Unreal Engine 5. So that'll be a really interesting test, because can they, I mean, this is tons of people that are playing this game on mobile, desktop, console, switching the whole thing to a whole new engine. I'll be interested to see how it feels, because people will notice. Does it feel laggy? Does it feel better? Are they going to tweak any of the visuals now that they're in an engine to start testing, or is it going to feel exactly the same? And then are they going to start switching and turning things on? So, but there should be some pretty cool features that they can start using once they do that. Archage 2, it's like a sequel to an MMO, Archage. That is going to be UE5. Dragon Quest is a 12 is going to be UE5. Dreamhouse the game, I thought this was interesting. It's one where you build a house. It's
Jesus,
and you can do it like in VR mode. You build a house from scratch. So you have to like get everything and build the whole house.
True survival.
But the thing is, what if you already wanting to learn how to make a house? I guess you have to make sure you're making it out of brick or whatever they're showing you. Like, it could show you, I guess, how to make a house.
Okay, so Brian, let's hold the presses right here. So if I'm gonna follow that logic, PC building simulator, farming simulator, these other games, do you feel the same way about those?
I actually like some of those games. Like,
I'm not saying you don't like them, but this is not going to show you how to be an architect.
Well, it depends how in detail. I mean, no, you won't. But there are people with plans. Like, you could build a house. Like, if you had to build one for a very rough house in a third world country, let's make this really easy with bricks like this. You can build a house.
Digging the hole, Brian. Keep going.
They even have multiplayer. So if you want some other people to come and pretend to work with you, this might be what it is.
Okay. What else we got?
eFootball PES. Which is Pro Evolution Soccer 2022 will be in UE5. Gears of War, they're going to be doing UE5. Echoes of the End, which has a very similar art style to the demo that they put out. It's not exactly the same, but I'm wondering if there's any kind of a partnership or if there's just by chance, but that is going to look very similar. Stalker 2, we talked about that one. Remember Stalker 2, Hearts of Chernobyl? Yep. I think that one they had showed some screenshots. They're very active in development on UE5. And then here's another one. I've got some video clips after this for Black Myth Wukong. And this one looks like it's going to be a really cool. A lot of stuff was being developed in UE4, but I think they've switched all that over. Cool. So let's look really quickly. There's a reveal trailer just to kind of show what UE5, a game under UE5 looks like. There's a reveal for a trailer for this one, which looks kind of cool.
Okay, we're not gonna play the whole thing. We'll just play a couple of minutes of it, I guess.
No, just play a little bit just to show some off.
All right. Everything you're seeing is captured in game, running real work in progress. No, I was in the look of the font game. Okay, great. Oh boy.
因为因缘际会走到一起，怀着各不相同的目的。你欲成前人未竟之业，修功德圆满。你执着后世。
You see, they're taking advantage of the really high pixel rate, or poly count limit to get from that. Very dense worlds. I think that's the biggest thing, is people will be surprised at how dense a world can be without that poly count limit.
可我早就看穿了你们，满嘴的情怀大义，一心的世俗名利，唱什么命不由天。
This looks pretty good.
却笃信自己
Yeah.
才是天。
But I think that there's still, you can tell that there's some stuff that's from the old, but you can tell a lot that they brought in and really made high resolution and everything. So
yeah, cool. All right, excellent. Cool.
But yeah, that'll be interesting to see, because this is games. It's now stable enough because they're going to be releasing, as I said, Fortnite on it. I think that this is going to be that progressing into where games are just going to start looking way different. You're going to start seeing those really high resolution shots. And what are these other engines going to do when people go to their games and they'll say, oh, well, they can't even come close to this. It'll be interesting to see if they start changing the tech on a lot of these other engines, and even Amazon's new engine are they built that thing and redid it from scratch. Now it's an open engine. It'll be kind of cool if they start implementing those features even in that open source engine.
Excellent.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's go over a couple of little things really quickly.
Sure.
Microsoft they opened in their store. They have third-party storefronts listed in their Microsoft store. So Epic, Amazon, you can go in there and they show where you can actually install the Epic Game Store and install the Amazon Marketplace, things like that. I don't know. I haven't. It says we might even see the Steam Store available someday. Not yet, but who knows? Maybe they'll eventually put that in there, and everybody can.
They should. I mean, that if Microsoft is trying to move to this model of getting most of your apps from the Microsoft Store, which I understand for the enthusiasts in the people that doesn't make sense, but for the broader, more general user base, I think it would not. If Epic's going to be in there, it absolutely makes sense for Steam to be in there as well.
Yeah. And so in that, maybe, I don't know if there's a reason they haven't done that. Steam is a 32-bit, there may be some reason and a weird thing that they have to do. Okay, another thing that's going on with Discord is they're testing YouTube integration. And mainly what that means is a watch together feature. So you could all go in the same channel and watch YouTube videos together. And just imagine the ridiculousness that we would run into on our Discord doing that. So that's coming up. They do have, I don't remember if it's an opt-in feature or how you get in there. I haven't seen the option on mine yet, but it's very small number of servers that currently have it. So we'll see once they start rolling that out.
Cool. That's an interesting feature.
Yeah, and then another follow-up to something we talked about earlier. Remember how there was that NVIDIA database leak where it listed all those upcoming games?
Yeah.
Well, Ubisoft issued a takedown request for that list. So that's no longer going to be shown there.
But but you can't do a takedown on a thing that's on the internet. I mean, we know that doesn't work. I mean, what...
they're trying to do it. Yeah, they're trying. Yeah, it's going to make it so the source document goes away, but everyone else still has.
I mean, what are we gonna have to go delete the episode of Infection in which we talk about
where we discuss the names? Yeah. Hopefully not. They may. You never know. Google might do that to you nowadays.
Yeah, very
possible. We'll have to bleep out that section.
Yeah, well, they can Ubisoft can kiss my ass. That's interesting. Well, obviously that just shows that some of the projects are probably accurate.
Yeah, probably accurate. I think probably some of those, that may be a sign more than anything. Yes, that could be a very accurate list. And I got one more thing. I figured one more thing since this will bring you back to your childhood. Roblox.
Hold on a second. Bring me back to my childhood. What do you mean? Roblox is well after my time.
Okay, well, I figured maybe when you're in high school or something they'd have Roblox.
When did Roblox? Well, they came out in 2006. I guess that is my time, but I don't remember.
Maybe you weren't playing it, but it was around.
I don't remember it being talked about. I'm trying to remember when I first started hearing it. It wasn't until I was well into PC gaming stuff that it probably must have been the 2010s when I first actually started hearing about it. And at that point, I was trolling kids on Harry Potter RP and things of that nature.
Oh, so. Yeah, I know. Where the men go.
Yeah, exactly.
So Roblox has settled a $200 million lawsuit with music publishers. And the settlement comes less than a week after Twitch struck a similar deal with the National Music Publishers Association. Because remember all these takedowns and everything that were happening at Twitch?
From what I read with the thing with Twitch, that deal that they made with this Music Publishers Association is not what it's cracked up to be. I saw a couple of people that we follow. I didn't read into it, but I saw a couple of creators that we follow on the Infection Twitter account bitching about how this is not good on there to be. Yeah.
Well, and here's what they're doing. So in Roblox, what they're trying to do is they have a new opt-in agreement that enables members to come up with their own individual licensing deals for use of their music in Roblox.
Wait, so I think that would sign a deal with a music company to use their music in your mod or something?
Yeah, so it would allow them to set up some sort of a license. So then that they could use the music in Roblox and not be breaking any terms. It pretty much forces people so they can't just create music, because people are probably creating music or uploading music. You know, they need to have something that's going through. Yeah. So this is going through a legitimate music service, so they can actually get the proper licensing and not have big issues.
Interesting.
Because it was filed, they said in June, over complaints that Roblox charges its users to upload music to the platform. So you had to use Robux to upload to the platform, and with pricing based on the length of the clip, and it took no steps to prevent copyright violations. So people are uploading music to be able to use and play wherever in the game, but there was no kind of copyright protection or licensing. So
it can't have
it looks
that.
like they're looks like they're working that out.
Can't have 13 to 14-year-olds to play a video game. Or listen to music and video games.
Well, the thing is,
forbid.
The music industry, I mean, what they're pissed at is Roblox made hundreds of millions of dollars doing this with no money going to the actual copyright holder.
I mean, I can understand,
but there was it wasn't guaranteed. It could be sounds of the kid going, bah, into the microphone. It could be anything. They're paying to upload some stupid sound, and it could be something that's copyrighted or not. So now, at least, it looks like they have a way to handle this. So, good old Roblox. I think that's it. Unless there's anything else you want to go cover, we got a few other things.
Yeah, I think. I'm good to go if you are.
Yep, I think we're good. We kind of skip past some of the Activision Blizzard stuff, but we'll see. I'm still waiting for that to settle.
Yeah.
There's
all right.
Still people coming and going.
Well, with that, Brian, a little short, I'll ask you where people can find you on the internet.
Yeah, if you want to find me at Brian Aldridge on Gab and Parler, or you can check my blog, biteoftech.com. Make sure first you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, go to the right-hand side and join our server on Discord, especially if you think there's a game or topic or something that happened that week that we need to cover or haven't been covering. Jump into the news channel, drop some links to that, and we will review it before this next live show. We have video forms of the podcast, which you can watch through Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, and DLive. We have audio forms to the lower right-hand side for whatever platform, device you want to use. And then we have links and notes and things for every topic that we discussed during the episode. So go to the particular episode that you want to listen to. And there's links to videos, images, PDF files, all kinds of things that you might want to reference while you're listening. And there's a video and audio player included in there for free. And if you want to support us, you go to the support tab up top or infectionpodcast.com/support. We have Subscribestar, Humble Bundle, Prime Gaming, Amazon, all kinds of different ways that you can support the show. And I think that's about it.
Alrighty, Mr. Brian. Well, thank you as always. Appreciate it, and looking forward to you getting in New World over the next couple of days and giving us your thoughts on it next week. I don't know. I might.
I think I'm gonna try to get my wife to play it as well, because she's not really play. I mean, she played some WoW with me. I think it'll be a good comparison because she could give me a really realistic view of how's this compare. Because for me, I have too much either baggage or history with WoW to think give it a real honest, because I know what it can do. I'd rather see someone who got through most of the leveling experience, than compare those two things. Because I'm looking at the level experience and I'm thinking, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I will. I'll see. I might be convinced. We'll just have to wait and see. Brian, thank you as always. We'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Yep, we will see you.
Alrighty, folks. Well, that's going to do it for episode 350 of Infection. My name is Nick Craig. If you'd like to check out some of my daily political antics, you can download the Wilmington's Morning News podcast and search for it in your favorite podcatcher, and you'll have that delivered to your device each and every day. Of course, if you missed any portion of this show, want to check out a couple of those trailers or anything like that, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you next time.